I could start this video off with a cliche saying how I didn't want to make it, but that would be a lie because in reality, this topic is long overdue being discussed. Calling my interactions with Arrowhead's content creator club management unprofessional would be my personal understatement of the year. The singling out and gatekeeping of my channel in regards to it has frankly been out of the public eye for long enough, and it's time I told everyone just how bad this situation really got. I want to also make it clear that under no circumstances am I making this video to incite hate or incite any witch hunting. Please do not give anyone any hate that you may think was involved in this story that you're about to hear. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go back to the beginning. When I first started my channel and began to adapt my model to fit in with the world of Helldivers, it was because I absolutely loved the game and had aspirations to one day form some kind of connection with its developers through a creator program, as I figured looking the part and being well liked by the community would make me a shoo-in for a position as a medium between the community and the developers. As my channel grew and I saw more and more outcry from the community in the pre 60-day plan era for better communication from the dev team, I figured this was the best time to start reaching out about the idea of creating some form of program that would allow the devs to more easily bridge that gap and communicate with the community on key topics. To this end, I emailed Arrowhead, used Twitter, and I even tried reaching out to Pilestead himself, who was the CEO at the time, to which I received no reply. Which, at the time, I wasn't exactly expecting any kind of reply on their part, considering I was still growing my channel, averaging maybe 10 to 20,000 views at the time. So, naturally, I figured their reluctance to speak to me was justified due to the size of my channel. This turned out to not be true. But it's important you know I have since before the program even began been actively trying to be a part of it, and get my foot in the door with the developers of the game that I loved so much that I had centered my career around it. So there is no way they could ever believe I wasn't interested. Fast forward many months later, I'd made many friends among the other creators in the community, been on several different podcasts on the topic of Helldivers 2, and grown my channel substantially, peaking over 200,000 views for the first time during the Illuminate release, and averaging a million views per month on every major update thereafter. As far as average viewership per video, I was definitely top 12 among my peers, many of those videos being guides that helped thousands enjoy the game more, or even gave them new ways to play the game by pioneering stealth gameplay. I'm stating this to make it clear there is no possible way Arrowhead would not have considered me among their top creators. Now, all of this context should make it clear why I was extremely confused by what happened next. A group chat between me and some of the other Helldivers creators lit up, talking about the trip. To which I asked, what trip? They replied in confusion that I had not been invited to Arrowhead's headquarters in Sweden for the founding of the Propaganda Commanders creator program. Just about everyone was confused as to how I wasn't on the list for an event like this. I won't be leaking any DMs or mentioning any other creators by name in this video, as the last thing I would want to do is affect their position in the program. So you'll just have to take my word for it that this and all following events did occur. Several of them also went above and beyond talking to Arrowhead directly, asking why I had not been included and inquiring about when I would be. They received no answer even to this day, but they had my back the entire time, so no one should go to them asking why they didn't push for me, because trust me, they did. Now, I was upset to find out I wasn't invited, considering how I'd previously already reached out to them. My online identity was Helldivers, and I had worked exceptionally hard to grow my channel into what it is today. That being said, I didn't say a word to anyone about it outside those I knew were going on the trip, as I didn't want to get anyone in trouble knowing it was likely meant to be kept under wraps, and I didn't want to spoil the surprise as it was sure to be a very significant event for my friends who had been included via livestream. Not to mention at the time, I still respected Arrowhead and didn't want to ruffle their feathers, as who knows, maybe it was a mistake and they'd get to me later on. The day of the event finally arrives, and it didn't really dawn on me just how sad I was about being excluded from the program until I saw all my friends together in a room, shaking hands with John Helldiver himself and being sworn into the Helldivers. That being said, I still remained respectful and went live for my own stream during the event with a quirky thumbnail including a hook and a blackjack card. If you get the joke, you get the joke. As I decided to have my own celebration with my own stream instead, which went well enough, but obviously the question that kept coming up was, why were you not invited? Why aren't you in Sweden? Why didn't they pick you? I answered the question every time as plainly as possible, simply stating, I don't know, not wanting to get emotional over the ordeal. If I had gotten too bitter or vocal on stream about the situation, it would be more likely my viewers would go attack Arrowhead for their decision, something I was entirely against and wished to avoid. But regardless of what I wanted, people were angry to find out I wasn't included, or at the very least, very confused. So comments and messages poured into their livestream event, asking where I was and why I wasn't included all the way into the comment section following the broadcast's end. During Thick-Filet's livestream from Arrowhead HQ, an Arrowhead employee stepped forward declaring, quote, "We have plans for Erevan. We love that guy," in response. This comment was of course brought to my attention quickly by the community and followed up on after the stream had ended in the comments section. And when I watched it back, it filled me with hope, but mostly confusion. If they really had plans for me, why had there been zero communication until they saw the community was upset at their decision to not include me? Is there really some greater plan at work, or is this just them attempting to put out fires and quiet the outrage? While I can't prove it for certain, I'm sure with what we discuss next, you'll be able to form your own opinion on which it was. About a week or so after the event ended, I got my first DM from those in charge of the program stating, quote, "Haha, goddamn, do they hate me for not inviting you. You will be asked to sign up for the content creator program when the landing page is ready. This event was super stressful and last minute to get everyone coordinated. Even the folks who got here can tell you that. We had to make a lot of really difficult choices about who was invited. You are, and always have been, part of our plans." There are significant holes in this statement that would continually pile up throughout the rest of this story, but I didn't feel the need to push them about it at the time. I was just happy to know I would finally be included, even if I had missed out on the trip. I was still being recognized by Arrowhead as a creator worthy of their prestigious program at the very least, or that's what I thought. This DM came in on February 11th of 2024 and obviously gave the impression I would get my opportunity to join relatively soon. But I quickly realized the other creators who had gotten into the program seemed a bit more in touch with the update schedule than normal. So I politely messaged the following: do creators in the program get a heads up that something is happening with no specifics? It'd be really nice to know when it's okay for me to sleep, as there's been very little these last 2 weeks. I asked this and mentioned my poor sleeping habits because ordinarily not knowing which Tuesday or Thursday or even sometimes Sunday Helldivers plans to drop content, it forces me to stay up till between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. just to make sure I'm around to cover the release if it happens. And because I take a lot of time with my editing, I end up releasing much later than my peers on average already. So obviously finding out that not only am I excluded from the program, but all the other creators are now informed ahead of time puts that much more pressure on something I was already struggling with. And this would prove to be the case as they replied, yes, they do. The creators are behind an NDA, which means they can have privileged information, such as MO times, updates and patch drop times, and access to other exclusives. This statement was then followed up with, "We may have our partners reach out to you because we're having some delays with getting the landing page for signups going. What is a good email I can give the team?" I replied with my email and told them how an NDA sounds like a fine trade-off for knowing when I'm safe to clock out for the night, as I've been kept very busy lately. This conversation occurred on February 18th, not quite a week since the last. There was some minor communication on my part in between, but nothing more on the program until I finally asked 1 full month later on March 18th, 2024, is that email happening? Just about Warbond time again and haven't heard anything yet. I'm confused how 12 creators got shipped to Sweden in 1 month, but I'm still in the wins after 2 despite being, quote, part of the plans. Reflecting, I don't think this was a particularly aggressive message, but I did feel justified in making my irritation with the situation at least a bit clear after waiting so long and being told I was always part of the plan, especially because I knew the creators went from email to Sweden in just 1 month's time. Yet, I'd now been waiting for a Discord invite and DocuSign for 2 months. Something clearly wasn't adding up here. After bringing up my complaints about the situation, they coldly redirected me to reach out to their management agency for the program, directly giving me an email to send my inquiry to. This is really where things start to go from bad to worse, as the original narrative I'd been pitched begins to unravel entirely. I started off by emailing them, "Hello, I'm Aravan. I was told by blank to reach out regarding my concerns with the creator program. My concerns being that I'd like to be a part of it sooner rather than later. Initially, I was told to wait for the landing page, then told the landing page was taking longer than expected, and I might receive an email to speed up the process. That was a month ago, so I pressed about the subject, and now I was sent here." They replied, "Thanks for reaching out, and I understand waiting outside of the door can be annoying. We are in the alpha test of our creator program currently, and we'll be looking to open the doors once the landing page is up and running. We don't have an exact date on when that will be yet, but it should be sometime in April, and at that stage, you'll be able to apply via the program portal. In the meantime, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and we will make sure to let you know ahead of time when the program page is going live." This reply made it clear any early inclusion before this landing page was finished was not going to happen, weakening the narrative that I was always part of the plan even further. But it did at least give me a timeline for when I could expect to get my chance to join in. This contact had occurred on March 19th, 2024. April came and went. No further emails, no landing page to be seen. In fact, the mystical landing page still doesn't exist to this day. It was now May 1st, 2024, and I emailed them again, simply asking, "Any update on this?" They replied the same day, "Thanks for reaching out. We have no updates to share with you. Once the program has opened, I will let you know and you can apply. Thanks for your patience." This was my last contact with them until July 17th, 2025, meaning they had by this point had me waiting outside the proverbial door for a full year and a half. A year and a half to get a landing page up and or send a DocuSign directly, while the flight to Arrowhead HQ for the original 12 occurred in just 1 month's time. This made 0 sense. Obviously, I was pretty unhappy about this, and it was made even worse when a new creator program perk appeared. Creators in the program were now not only getting to playtest new content before release and knowing when new content was coming out, but now also received every war bond for free, fully unlocked the minute the clock struck 5 a.m. While it was great for those included, being outside that door now meant I was now not only in the dark when it came to the release schedule of regular updates, but now potentially hours of grinding behind the others from the starting gun for Warbond releases. This time of the month, Helldivers is at its most popular and its viewership at its highest. While plenty of folks showed up to my stream regardless, it felt really bad knowing they would be better off watching just about anyone else, as they would be actually getting to play with the new gear. After this occurred, I'd finally had enough and emailed them once again. "Alright, this is getting ridiculous. I'm told April, and it's no longer even remotely April. Creators in the program are now getting perks on a level that make it impossible for me to stay competitive, and I'm still on the outside. What is going on?" And just like that, when I thought things couldn't get any worse with the lack of transparency and communication, not to mention the initial community outrage being doused with the sweet nothings of empty promises, it got worse. "Hey Aravan, as previously mentioned, once the club is opened, we will let you know and you can apply. However, given your attitude towards not only myself, but the wider team as well as how you have conducted yourself, we will not be inviting you to the club at this time. Please keep in mind, we do watch your content, and we have examples of you not conducting yourself in the best light. Specifically, this video here." The here in this email linking to not a video actually, but a live stream where I vented my frustrations about being kept outside for so long during the invasion of Super Earth event to a crowd of just a few hundred individuals, not nearly as many as a video would reach. In the live stream, I made comments about how I felt I'd been forgotten about, and I felt I'd been lied to in my initial interactions with them. This all occurs within just the first 10 minutes of this 4-hour long broadcast, which then proceeds as normal, just playing out the content update. They followed up stating, "We will, however, reevaluate your inclusion into the club if we see an improvement in your attitude and conduct over the next 6 weeks. Take care." This statement implying I had to rehabilitate my disposition towards them specifically when their negligence regarding my inclusion into the program is the entire reason for that disposition in the first place did not make me a happy camper. Not to mention, the stream in question they'd linked to was already over 2 months old, having aired in May of 2025, which made the implications that I had to adjust my attitude over the next 6 weeks for something that had occurred 8 weeks ago utter nonsense. Taking all of this into account, I still decided to wait the 6 weeks. Even when 2 weeks later I started seeing new faces rolling into the Creator Club in mass without me, I still made no mention of what transpired outside my Discord, where I did inform them of my denial into the program and the reasoning given with no further comment. I did this for 2 reasons. Either they would finally make good on what was initially pitched to me, and I'd be able to make better content easier than ever before for you guys, or if I played the part of a perfect little angel for 6 weeks only to still be denied, I could finally tell my story with a clear conscience that I'd given them every opportunity to make things right. And considering the title of the video you're watching right now, I think you know how this story ends. 6 weeks go by. I've not mentioned the program on stream or in any videos, not mentioned Arrowhead a single time, and done nothing that could be taken in a negative light while still putting up a million views worth of Helldivers content within a month's time, same as usual. 7 weeks. I send an email stating, "It's been about 7 weeks. What are the next steps we need to take?" Silence. 8 weeks go by and I email again. Going on 8 weeks, what are the next steps? No reply. 9 weeks later, I email, reaching out one final time on this matter. And again, no reply. No reply to this day. I'd been entirely ghosted by the professionals in charge of this program, like it was a high school drama and not a business or their job, making it clear to me for the final time that everything I'd gone through across the last year and a half in relation to this program has been both extremely unprofessional and, in my opinion, extremely targeted. When it comes to what I've said negatively in regards to Arrowhead and the developers in general, even if you were to pull every comment I've ever made together, it would be comparatively very minor to many peers. And that's considering I was also on the hook outside the Creator Club door for over a year with minimal updates leading to my frustration to begin with, indicating they likely have a problem specifically with me, for reasons I'll likely never know the real answer to, just as we'll never know the real reason that I wasn't invited initially. So what happens now? Well, the thumbnail isn't clickbait. My Helldivers themed VTuber model is being retired as I no longer wish to indirectly associate my online identity with Arrowhead in any conceivable way. These events, coupled with the ridiculous number of technical issues with the game itself as of late, have also been the cause for a much slower release schedule in regards to the game, as I'd be lying if I said it hasn't left me demoralized and devoid of the creative spark at times when it comes to making content and streaming the game. But I still love the community we've grown across the last 2 years, and no matter how bad my personal relationship might get with the game, I will continue to push past that and make content for you guys when it comes to new releases and guide-based content, as it's always been my dream to do so, and I don't plan to let the difficulties these events have created stop me from continuing to realize it. While Helldivers content will never return to its multiple videos per week schedule with streams 3 times a week, I'll still upload during any new release multiple times and stream during these events to check in with everyone. I want to also thank all of you who have stood by me through these last 2 years as we grew this community to what it is today. I'm very grateful for the position I've been given on the platform, with this channel getting to over 70k subscribers recently, and never intend to stop making both Helldivers and new forms of content on the channel. Thank you to my Coffee supporters, Twitch subscribers, YouTube members, and everyone in between who have helped keep the channel going all this time, and I'll see you next time.